My name is Rob Dyke, I'm the Technical Director at Tactix 4. Here at the EHI Skunkworks talking about our product WardWare, which does bedside observations for nurses in acute hospitals. It's an open source platform. It's been developed in partnership with NHS trusts. We've been working with King's College Hospital, Luton and Dunstable Hospital to really create a nursing centred observations platform for capturing these bedside obs, to track patients that are deteriorating in a trust, to be able to trigger the appropriate trust responses and make sure that we're using technology to improve patient safety. I think I'm trying to reach two different groups of people really. I mean, obviously my main, I think the main people I need to speak to are people from acute trust, people that have hospitals, people that have beds, people that have patients. They need to know that there is an open source product out there which can be used instead of the proprietary alternatives in the marketplace, and that they can also collaborate to improve their technology and not be in a position of just buying what is sold them. So acute trusts, I want to see people who can buy these things, but more widely than that, I'm here on the Skunkworks to talk about open source and the power of openness in healthcare and improving healthcare IT. So I'm happily here to talk to people from primary care, secondary care, tertiary service providers, anyone with an interest in healthcare. For that being, I think they all need to hear this message. Well, I think it's an important observation was made earlier in one of the panels that every vendor in this room depends on open source software. They probably won't say it, they probably put a nice box on it and their badge in front of it, but every single one of them uses open protocols, open standards in order to get their messages from A to B. They probably have an open source web server, they maybe use an open source database engine, but they generally put a big wrapper around it and put it out there. So I think one of the things that I want to do whilst I'm here is just draw attention to that, so everybody here can understand that actually open source is really quite widely used. Well, it built the internet, that's quite big these days. It's in use by many big companies, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, they all use it and depend on it for their business critical operations. And also, if we think about other big companies like say IBM, Oracle, SAP, all the people that trusts have bought from in the past, they all have open source components in. So yeah, open source is very much a part of tech, it's very much a part of healthcare tech, and I'm trying to make sure that everybody understands that message whilst I'm here. What's particularly tricky for trusts is understanding how to procure open source. How do they actually contract with, how do you contract with a community organisation? And if you've taken code from a community organisation to use in a patient critical environment, such as bedside observations, how do you then sort of like manage the risks involved in that? How do you ensure that you've got services and support in order to roll out that piece? So those are the sorts of conversations I'm having about the WardWare product, but more widely about how trusts can use open source. Really what trusts need to be doing is working with specialist service providers like ourselves who can help sort of price that risk. Essentially, that's what we do. We provide a service level agreement. We provide a help desk facility. So we provide those services and we help them implement it in their organisations. So yeah, it's really a procurement thing and an implementation thing that I'm being asked questions about whilst I'm here. Don't spend 1.5 million quid on a competitor product. Come and participate in the development of an open source nursing observations platform. Patient safety is everyone's responsibility, and it shouldn't be something that is made proprietary and profitable for people to extract value from the NHS. Everybody benefits from having safe patients and for managing patients' care effectively, and let's do that in an open source way.